All right, welcome to Lab 5 of AZ-204, deploy compute workloads using images and containers. So we're going to be using containers this time. Let's go over to PowerShell on our Windows machine and then go into the directory for this lab. So 05 starter. And then let's create a new .NET console here, or a new application here, console based, with the name IP check. That's going to be using .NET 8.0. All right, that's done. And then let's create a Docker file in this directory. And then let's start Visual Studio Code. So what we've got here now is the project for IP check that we just created, as well as an empty Docker file. So first of all, we're going to overwrite the program.cs with the information given in the lab instructions. Okay, so what does this do? Well, it tries to find the current host name and then print that if possible. Otherwise, it says no network connection. So let's save that. Let's get rid of this solution file. Just going to make us, problematic things for us problematic. And then let's just run that program, right? So this is where we were over here. .NET run. So you can see we have two current IP addresses, IPv6 and IPv4 address. All right. So next up, let's create a container for this stuff, right? So we're going to create work with the Docker file here, copy pasting the content from the lab lab instructions. So what we're doing here is we're getting the .NET 8 SDK, and then we're going into the app directory and copying everything into that. And then we're running .NET Publish on that. And then we basically know that we've got everything. And then we're just going to run IP check whenever this container gets called. Not a very good Docker file, for production purposes, but totally adequate for our purposes over here in the lab and demo. So let's create a zip file from that. There we go. And then let's go back to our Azure portal and open up Cloud Shell. All right, here we are. Next up, so let's upload our zip file that we just created. It's going to be under Labs5 starter, and then that's the file. All right, so that's there. Let's create a directory for our application. And then let's unzip the file we just uploaded into IP check. Great. let's make sure that we can execute anything in there. And then let's go there. All right, so let's create a registry name, starting with con registry and then having a random suffix there. And then let's create that. Is your check name. Making sure that it's okay. Cool, the name is available. So let's just create it then. So we're going to use ACR to create the container registry in our resource group with the name. And then we're going to use the basic SKU for that. So that's done. So then let's see if it is really created. So we're going to use ACR list in our resource group. It seems to be there. Status for encryption is disabled. Some policies, some default policies there. SKU is basic, and the status itself is null, right? So let's get the name of our container registry into a variable. And then let's see what the name was. Con registry 2407. Perfect. Okay. So let's look what we have here in our directory. We have a Docker file, and then we have a couple of different directories, as well as a project file for C# and a program file for it as well. Okay, so let's build this. So we're going to use ACR build, giving the registry name and then the name for the image, which is called IP check, and then the tag latest for what we have here. All right, that seems to be done. So let's go and check. So what we did here was we created an application that would return back the IP address of the currently of the machine that it's running in. And then we built that application in the cloud, in the container registry, right? I don't want to create it. Container registry. Here we can see our container registry. Let's get rid of those pop-ups. And then we should then have a registry or repository over here with the name of IP check. We should have one version. Perfect. And then over here for our particular version, what we can do is select run an instance. So this is a shortcut to creating a container instance from the repository directly. So let's give it a name, manage compute. OS type is going to be Linux. Subscription is going to be okay. Resource group is going to be okay. East US. Number of cores, we want to have 2. Memory, we want to have 4 gigs. We don't need a public IP address. Let's create that. Okay, so that has been created. Let's get over to the resource. Here we have a managed compute instance that is currently working. Perfect. So let's try to do this manually as well. So let's go back to container instances. Over here, we have our pre-created one, and let's create a new one. All right. So for the resource group, we're going to use the same one that we already used before. For the name, we're going to say manual, and then East US is going to be okay. Image source is going to be container registry. The registry is going to be the one that we created, and the image is going to be IP check, and then the tags are going to be latest, right? So it's kind of showing you how to do the same thing kind of manually as well. Cool. So let's create this one as well. Okay, so that has been deployed. So let's go and take a look at our container instances. We'll go over here, or maybe better here. So you can see that we have two container instances that are working. If we take a look at the latest one that we created, we can go and take a look at the actual containers that are within it. And these are the events that we can see that happen, right? Cool. And the same thing is also available for the managed compute option, right? Okay. So we used both a automated and manual way of creating container instances for our containers. Next up, let's go and take a look at how to create container apps to run our containers in. So I'm going to go to Cloud Shell. And then what I want to do here is add the container apps extension. And then we're going to register that app namespace. This because it used to be Microsoft.web, now it's Microsoft.app. Then we also want to take a look at the log analytics. So we're going to register the namespace for operational insights as well. Then a couple of settings, so the resource group, and then the container environment. Surprisingly difficult. So let's see if we can get it right correctly now. Container app environment create with the name container environment, resource group in my resource group and in East US. This should that's created. So next up, let's create a container application. So container app create with the name and the resource group and then the environment that we just created. We're giving it a image, a target port that we want to have external ingress, And then we want to get back the fully qualified domain name. And that's what we got. So let's check it. And yeah, it seems to be okay. All right, so during this lab, we've shown you 3 different ways to deploy container apps into Azure. 2 different ways using container instances, and 1 using container apps. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next lab. Till then.